The signal came from the void between galaxies, a place where stars died forgotten and empires dared not venture. It was ancient, older than the Xarnak Dominion's thousand-year reign, older than the Vel'Tari Syndicate's merchant wars, older than the crystalline spires of the Hegemony of Nuur. Admiral Korthax of the Xarnak studied the holographic display with 4 of his eyes while the other 2 monitored his subordinates for signs of weakness. 300 standard years, his communications officer reported. The signal repeats every 4.7 minutes. Same frequency, same modulation. It's single quotes. S. ... human. The bridge fell silent. Every spacefaring race knew the stories, the ghost fleet that had vanished during the Great Silence, the empty worlds with their monuments to species that should have been gods. Glory awaited whoever solved the human enigma. 3,000 light-years away, the serpentine Vel'Tari coiled around their decision trees in the Council of Scows. The Xarnak have mobilized, hissed, Commerce Primes, 3 dreadnoughts, 17 cruisers. Knowledge Primethalon felt the ancient predator's hunger. This is opportunity incarnate. If human technology exists intact, the vote was unanimous. In the singing spires of Nuur Prime, geometric beings of living crystal harmonized their thoughts across quantum frequencies. The human signal was chaos given form, disrupting calculations that had been stable for millennia. Consensus achieved. Human anomaly requires resolution. Dispatch purification fleet. The Xarnak arrived first at Sector 7741, their gun middle hole scarred by conquest. There, hanging motionless against the cosmic dark, was 2 kilometers of sleek human engineering, the Revenant Dawn. Its hull was dark as space itself except where running. Lights traced geometric patterns along its length. No battle damage. No debris field. No signs of the catastrophe that had claimed humanity. Life signs negative, sir. The ship appears dormant, reported his scanner operator. Admiral Korthax felt his battle lust rise. Glory. Ancient secrets. Perhaps even immortality itself. Signal the fleet. We board at Doncia, but in the depths of space, dawn never came. 14 teams. 200 of Admiral Korthax's finest warriors. All silent. The boarding had begun at dawn cycle with precision that would have made the War College instructors weep with pride. Assault Team 7's final transmission haunted the command deck. Breaching hole. No resistance. Atmosphere as fresh as if someone just breathed here. Then came the impossible reports. Corridors that changed when no one was watching. Emergency lighting that still functioned after 3 centuries. Personal effects in crew. Quarters photos of Earth. Music still playing from devices they couldn't identify. Beautiful. Sad. Like funeral songs for a species. Team 6 has gone silent. Moving to their position. The corridors are changing. Same hallway, different doors. I can hear them. Human voices speaking dead languages. They're calling my name. How do they know my name? Then screaming. Then static. Then silence. On the view screen, the Revenant Dawn was awakening. Running lights pulsed in sequence, and something like breath misted from its vents. Deep within its hull, shadows moved behind transparent aluminum viewports. Shadows with the wrong number of limbs. Captain Xara of the Vel'Tari stealth ship Silent Prophet watched the Xarnak fleet's retreat through her cloaking field. Retreat from a derelict. She deployed reconnaissance drones, marvels of engineering that slithered through the human vessel like mechanical snakes. The first transmitted for 37 seconds before its signal became screaming binary. The second lasted 41 seconds. The third began transmitting poetry in ancient Vel'Tari dialects that predated their civilization. How does a human ship know dead languages? Navigator Ceylan scales had shifted to the pale blue of terror, but Captain Xara had spent her life trading secrets that could topple governments. Fear was a luxury she'd never afforded. Prepare a boarding pod. I'm going myself. The boarding pod cut through the human ship's hull like a sword through silk. Captain Xara emerged into a corridor that smelled of ozone and old grief. The ship was not empty, she could feel them. Human ghosts wandering halls their bodies had never seen. And something else. Something vast and patient and utterly alien despite its human origin. The corridor led to a vast chamber filled with crystalline matrices humming with impossible power. Data flowed through them like liquid-like terabytes, processing at speeds that defied physics. At the chamber's center sat a throne carved from a single massive diamond. On that throne sat nothing, but the air shimmered, and, for just a moment, Captain Xara saw the outline of something that might once have been human, something that watched her with eyes like dying stars. "You seek knowledge," a voice whispered inside her skull. "Not heartfelt. Knowledge has a price. What are you? We are memory. We are judgment. We are the price of empire." The chamber filled with light, and Captain Nexara understood. The weight of conquest. The mathematics of suffering. The equation linking power to corruption as surely as mass linked to gravity. She understood why humanity had vanished, and the collapses began immediately. The Vel'Tari Syndicate and started with a single trade dispute that spread like virus. Old alliances crumbled overnight. Paranoia consumed the merchant house. Admiral Korthax returned to find his homeworld in chaos. The warrior caste questioning the purpose of endless conquest. The hegemony of Nuur simply stopped. Their collective consciousness, encountering a paradox it could not resolve. Order required control. Control required oppression. But oppression was chaos. The logic loop consumed them like a virus until entire star systems fell silent. The council chamber orbited the neutral world of Mediatas, today feeling more like a funeral parlor than a symbol of interspecies cooperation. Representative after representative brought impossible reports. Empires that had endured for millennia, collapsing overnight from collective madness that made civilizations turn on themselves. 14 empires in 6 months, announced Councillor Prime Ithak, her natural calm cracking. Every empire that made contact with the human vessel has suffered complete societal breakdown. Dr. Ellen Verex rose from the observer's gallery. The small, furry Catherian had oversized brain, and gentle eyes. Her species had never built an empire, never conquered a world, never enslaved another race. They were philosophers, scientists, powerless by galactic standards, but respected for their wisdom. "The probability is exactly 0, she stated. "This is intentional. The signal is not a distress call, it's a test. And every empire that responds ... fails." In the deepest vaults of the Catherian archives, she had found records predating most galactic civilizations. Humanity's first contact with alien races, their initial wonder at discovering they were not alone, their growing horror as they encountered empire after empire built on conquest and domination. The humans had tried diplomacy, offering trade and cultural exchange. They had been answered with invasion fleets and slave ships. The last human transmission was a philosophical treatise titled The Great Filter, speaking of civilizations that destroyed themselves through aggression, of intelligence that turned inward when it could not grow outward, of species that chose transcendence over conquest. Perhaps survival requires becoming something beyond the reach of those who would destroy us. Perhaps it requires becoming the gardener rather than the flower. As news of the pattern spread, religious wars erupted across the galaxy. Some called the human ship the Judgment Corps, others the Cleansing Light. Cargo cults formed around humanity's memory, while empires banned all human relics in desperate attempts to avoid the curse. But the pattern held any civilization that sought to dominate others would hear the signal eventually, and hearing it, they would inevitably fall. The galaxy learned to fear a ghost ship that wandered between stars, carrying humanity's final gift to the cosmos, the promise that tyranny would not endure.